English literature is often the subject and English language where the top students miss out or slip up on. Lots of people can comfortably assure nines in maths, sciences, but they do slip up on English and often get below the grade they want. Equally, it's one of these subjects where people who typically can get aiming for 6s and 5s can just jump up massively in the exams. In short, it's a really important subject to put your focus on and make sure you do everything you can to ensure you're going to get a high grade. This video is going to teach you exactly how to do that. I got a 9 in English literature and English language, and I'm going to be detailing everything I would recommend to help you get a 9 in English literature. If you're new here, please subscribe. My name is Henry Brand. I got all 9 summer GCSEs, and I aim to just do lots and lots of revision content to help you out in the upcoming years through GCSEs and also A-levels. I'm currently re-uploading all of my how to get a 9 videos in higher quality that I did last year. Now this video is going to be split into 2 parts. Number 1 is going to be about the more content side of English literature, and number 2 about the exam technique. Please make sure to leave a like, and I'm going to get straight into this. Point number 1 is to know your text, okay? This is quite obvious, but it's really important, and crucially, not everyone does it, okay? You need to be able to confidently summarize your text, okay? Know what happens almost chapter by chapter or scene by scene, okay? You can practice this by just literally teaching your parents about whatever you're reading, or friends, anything like that, okay? You have to read all of your books or plays at least once between now and the exams, okay? If you want a 9, you have to read it. You have to know what's going on. You have to be confident in the overall theme of the play and the plot of the play, okay? So read all of your books and make sure you can summarize each chapter and have chapter summaries that you remember, okay? Next point is to learn some key quotes, okay? The grade 9, the higher grade students will learn a lot of quotes. They'll have a lot of quotes that they know, a lot of quotes that they can use, and a lot of quotes that they know how to analyze. One thing I'd recommend is to put some time learning versatile quotes. What versatile quotes are quotes that can be used for more than one type of question. So for example, a quote may be able to be used for a character or 2 characters and a theme, okay? What you can do to try and find some versatile quotes is Google them. I'll put a link in the description of some that I think are useful. You can use ChatGPT and say, can you find me a quote that works for these themes and these characters? But this saves you a little bit of time. Learn your quotes, I would, using flashcards, and make sure you have a really good bank and knowledge of quotes. Next up, quotes. Next up, you need to make sure you're confident in your analysis and analytical words. You need to be confident on things like juxtaposition, semantic field, all of those grade 9 English literature techniques, and you should be trying to drop them in. So make sure your analysis is high grade. Push yourself. Google grade 9 English literature analysis, have a read of it, make sure you understand it. More on that will come later. And finally, for content, YouTubers and YouTube videos are incredibly helpful for English literature. This brings me on to the sponsor of today's video. First Rate Tutors is the sponsor of today's video. First Rate Tutors are really an English language and English literature organisation, so they teach English and they have a TikTok, YouTube and all social medias, so make sure to go and check them out. What they do so well is just loads and loads of videos helping out from Man in Spectacles to key quotes, as I mentioned. And also they're offering on their website for £10 a week an English language crash course. I'd definitely sign up for this, okay? Most professional tutors cost way more than £10. So to have a £10 crash course is really cheap, and it makes sure you're attending weekly. I would 100% sign up for this if you're aiming for the high grades. It's only £10 a week. This doesn't seem like much when you compare to other prices of big tutors. So definitely subscribe to First Rate Tutors. Check out their website for also past high mark questions, and also just make sure you're watching YouTube videos regularly, because English literature YouTubers are often very effective and can give you good quotes, good analysis, grade 9 analysis. They know what they're doing. So I definitely subscribe to that, and thank you First Rate Tutors for the sponsor of today's video, for sponsoring this video. Part 2 of this video is on exam technique. Now, exam technique is equally important as the content, okay? You need to have grade 9 content and then also be at grade 9 for exam technique. This is my advice for that. Number 1, know the layout of your papers inside and out, okay? Not everyone does this. A lot of students go into the exam and they haven't even seen a paper before. They couldn't tell you what to write for each. You have to know what to write for each question. You have to know the mark scheme for each question, okay? For example, some questions in English literature require you to talk about the context of when the novel or the play was written, but some questions don't. In some questions, you don't get marks for context, okay? Lots of students make the mistake of writing about context in all of them, and in some of them you're not marked. If you're aiming for a 9, if you're aiming for a 7, 8, you have to know what to write where, which technique in which paper. You should be able to go through a paper, look at the question and say, okay, I'll write this one with this structure, I'll write this one with this structure. If you don't know, talk to your teachers, check online, make sure you flashcard and practice that, okay? You have to know the layout and mark scheme of your papers. So my next point is a really underrated tip, which I intend to do a whole video on. But this is examiners' reports. So I'm going to put a photo up now of what some examiners' reports look like. They do vary based on the exam board, so some may not be as good as others. But what examiners' reports are basically is that when the exams are marked each year, they all get handed up and each examiner gives their feedback to the chief examiner. And the chief examiner will write a big report, which is called an examiner's report, detailing what went well that year for students, what less successful students did, and they'll give lots of examples of questions and why they were good and bad and high mark questions. Definitely, if you're aiming for a 9, read this. It's really, really useful. I did this for a lot of my subjects. I did it for politics A-level and I helped me get an A-star. But if you read loads of examiners' kind of thoughts on what students did well, what students did bad, all you need to do is do what they did well, okay? Getting yourself in the mindset of the examiner is really helpful and a really effective and underrated tip. So make sure you do that. I'll put the link in the description for some exam board examiner reports, but definitely check them out and just give them a read, okay? It's quite useful revision and it shouldn't take too long to do either. My final point is without doubt the most important for English, okay? Practice. Nothing will beat actually practicing, okay? I know people can procrastinate on YouTube and some YouTube videos for English are helpful, but nothing will beat just practicing and writing essays, okay? What you should be doing if you want a 9, if you want a really high grade, is from probably January, writing 1 English question a week, okay? That can be literature or language, but it doesn't actually take too long. Once you start doing it, it's usually only about 40 minutes to 50 minutes. Some questions are much smaller and take less time, but this practice is completely invaluable. To start off with, you can use the book, have quotes open, plan it, so make sure you get that exam technique locked in, and then try it as you get close to the exams from your own knowledge, okay? Hand in these questions once you've done them to your teacher, get the feedback and just repeat that process. That process should be going on the background to all of the other English revision you're doing, okay? But that should be probably half of my English revision would be actually writing questions, maybe a third, okay? Nothing beats actually writing it. I know it can be hard to do, but once you've sat down and started writing, usually you do get in the flow for it. So just make sure you have that knowledge. You need to be writing it, okay? These videos will be helpful to you, but nothing will beat writing it, getting feedback from your teacher and repeating that process again until you're really, really good at writing English essays and questions. I hope that video was really helpful. That's my English advice. If you follow that, I'm confident you'll get a 9, okay? So it just basically means know the content really well, know it to a high standards, know loads of quotes, loads of analysis, and then just keep practicing until you're at grade 9 standard, okay? Read examiners' reports to help you. And yeah, please make sure you leave a like. Any questions I'll answer in the comments section or by email if you want. But just don't get complacent with English. You absolutely can revise it and you should revise it, especially if you're aiming for brilliant grades across the board. English is one that is often overlooked and people often slip up on it. Thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you in my next video.